Durag Wisdom, wearing one of my favorite cracker hats and cowboy hats, and I hate to to have to associate the two, but this is supposed to be a replica of one of the hats that was worn by Clint Eastwood in one of his movies. And I'm still a Clint Eastwood fan, even though the guy's a Republican and he, I think he voted for the birther bastard. What am I supposed to do? You see, I hate the birther bastard, but I can't hate all the people that may have voted for him and supported him. And if it wasn't for I've always loved the movies of Clint Eastwood and the ones he directed. I have a huge collection of Clint Eastwood movies in my house. And I found out he was conservative, and I found out that he was, he liked Romney, voted for Romney. Now I guess he thinks he voted for the Trump, and all the characters the irony of it is the characters he plays in his movies are against authoritarians like that. I hate the guy's politics, but you gotta love this guy. He's unassuming. I never met him, but I read that he's unassuming. He's a musician, and he's written some really good music. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he did the music for Gran Torino, which, if you haven't seen that movie, I love that movie. I mean, that's a combination. That movie, his character is a combination of, let me see, Dirty Harry, Gunnery Sergeant, I think it was Hightower from Heartbreak Ridge, and the outlaw Josie Wales, because he used to spit a lot. People think, I know the guy claims that he's conservative and everything else, and he's very right-wing, but if you watch his movies, Judith Chris, the critic Judith Chris, used to always say Dirty Harry was a fascist, because this was about a cop at the time. It was the early 70s when the first Dirty Harrys came out, and this when you watch the Dirty Harrys, right? Yes, there's an undercurrent of some of this stuff that you would say, yeah, against people with long hair. Dirty Harry, the guy he was up against was a guy named, I think, Scorpio, and he had long hair. He was a crazy, and he almost stole the movie. That's Andrew Robinson, very fine actor. So, meanwhile, you look at the Dirty Harry. If he's such a fascist, he puts in people of color. He puts in Latinos. So often these characters get killed off, but they have major roles where you feel for them. I think in The Enforcer, his partner was a woman. We got into the whole female thing, and I thought it was handled very well. The so-called right wing. He did a movie. Unforgiven is about the Western. One of the greatest Westerns ever made is about the cause and effect. You have to see this Western. It's one of the most realistic, most heartfelt. That's a classic. This guy has so many, this movie, The Changeling, about this woman whose child was kidnapped, and Angela Jolie was in it, no less. Not one of my favorites for a certain reason. But Angelina Jolie was in it, about a woman who had lost her child, who had been kidnapped. This serial killer, and the cops tried to set her up to make her look crazy. Here's from a guy who's supposed to be right wing, showing that cops, authoritarians, can really hurt you. This is The Changeling. That's another one. He did one of the two best anti-war movies that were made, and there's so many of them, but his duet of the World War II, Flags of Our Fathers, and the other one was Letters from Iwo Jima. This is from the so-called right-winger. I mean, I could go on and on with many more examples. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which had a homosexual part to it. Not downgrading. I mean, yeah, there's some negative parts, but the people, this is like you're looking at like a kind of offbeat look at strange people, not just one person, but in this particular community. It kind of reminded me of a Southern Gothic Twin Peaks, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which was based on a book, if I'm not mistaken. And another one that he did, The Bridges of Madison County. If you can believe this, that movie, every time I watch it, I start crying. Even thinking about it, I'm feeling. I have to go pop and smack myself in the face, this ugly face, and I have to go boom, But Dirty Harry is making you. He's not killing you. He's making you cry, motherfucker. So, the Clint Eastwood movies have gotten me through, the final year of my teaching career, and I've enjoyed them throughout my entire life. And he's a voter. He's an example of a voter for someone I despise, for someone who's a traitor, for someone who's the opposite of many of the characters he's played in his movies. I mean, one of the few movies he played a bad guy in was The Beguiled. Oh, spoiler alert. He kills a little girl's little turtle. Every time I watch that movie, I mean, I can't have to kind of... I hate to censor myself, but I hate to see that. I love animals. And this poor little girl. And he was such a vicious character in that. And I love when he plays vicious characters. And he took, like, Kevin Costner, another one of my favorite, another great filmmaker and person, artist. And what does he do? I mean, Clint Eastwood in A Perfect World, he puts him in a what do you call it? A Perfect World. Costner is a wacko, he's a sociopath, but there's something humane. He's hurt. The way he brought out the two sides in the way the director did that, bringing out the guy's two sides in the way he directed Costner. It was just really a wonderful movie, and it was in the context of, it was in Texas. The setting is Texas, and Eastwood plays a marshal. I think and he's going out and he's trying to catch this guy, and it's a very difficult situation. Laura Dern is in it. Lovely, great actor, female actor. Oh, Laura Dern, strong in that movie. The music was by Lenny Niehaus, and it just really shows what happens when you muck up a person who could. And this guy Costner was playing was so intelligent, and he could have been something else. And what does he turn out to be? Because of all kinds of circumstances and whatever. Meanwhile, the director of this film, all these great films that he did, the war films, the Flags of everything. And then he was a different person in his private life. He was a Republican, and he votes like I don't even know if he even thinks about this shit, right? And should he care? I mean, I didn't throw out his stuff. I mean, I didn't, I'm not. Oh, he voted for one of the. I hate I hate that birther bastard. But man, I owe Clint Eastwood. If it wasn't for Clint Eastwood, so many sad things that I had to deal with when you grow up in life. And here he was in the movie theater. I could go in there and I could see a Clint Eastwood movie, Hang 'em High, The Beguiled, where he's playing a bad guy, Dirty Harry. You know, all these movies and beyond, and The Unforgiven, Mystic River, Absolute Power. Talk about a crazy person in power. All from Clint Eastwood. Votes for, but then he goes, you know, it's like when you see that movie Amadeus and Salieri is looking for Mozart and he's thinking that, oh man, the guy's perfect, and then he sees this. I mean, hey, you like somebody, you never put them up on a pedestal. That's the biggest mistake you can make. I can only appreciate Clint Eastwood for what he's given me entertaining and artistically. If I thought his movies were stupid or there wasn't anything to them, I would ignore them. He put forth a good acting persona, and I managed to separate what he is in his personal life from what he does on screen. Maybe inside he's a liberal breaking out. Maybe he's one of those who are going to be a disgruntled voter against. They're going to say, I voted for this guy, but look at him, what he's doing. I'm the good guy. I'm an artist. I want to do good. I don't want to see bad things happen. So I keep Eastwood's movies. I keep them. I value them for what they did for me. And they got me through. All I did the last year before I retired was watch. I got like 20 or 25 or 30 Clint Eastwood movies here. And they helped me get through that final grueling year of the crucible of the New York City school system. So here is why I have to be very careful when I'm on the site to realize that there are a lot of people out there who voted for this creep for whatever reason. Some because they're hateful Trumpenstuppens. That's Stupp means fuck. And it's a Yiddish word, and I just made my own word. Trumpenstuppens, those are his inner circle. Whatever he does, they're going to love it. But there's other voters who did it because whatever. Maybe it's one of them was Clint Eastwood. And the last thing I want to do, to pay him back for all the entertainment he's given me, hey, look, all the music from the Dollars trilogy by Ennio Morricone. The last thing I want to do is pay back this Trump voter with disdain, because he may come back and he may be with us. And man, we have Dirty Harry with us, and the man with no name. They all the suckers and cheaters of the world, they all lose. Resist.